Hello, here is another video working with the horse's head, where I hope that I show things to you a little bit more clearly, and where I'm going to do 2 stages, maybe 3 stages. The first stage is to add some new shapes to the horse's head. So I'm showing you this side, which is the stage that you were at the end of the last video, making the horse's head from changing the shape of the box, putting on the ears, stuffing some newspaper into the nose and shaping that a bit so that the nose of the horse is a bit bigger and rounder. Then you covered it with tissue paper and glue so it's a little bit stronger. But I'm going to get you now to refine this horse's head a little bit further. I'm only showing you one side because I've done more to the other side, but I'm hiding that from you for now. The first thing then is to cut out a shape a bit like this. This is it's a semicircle, it's half a circle, and actually I've trimmed it on this side so that it's a bit shorter. And one of the things that you might notice in your horse drawings, which I encourage you to see, is the jaw of the horse. So that's where that piece of card is. I actually cut out 2 pieces from a box and the other one is already on the other side, but I'm showing you how this stage works. So I've put it there and I'm going to tape it down so that the masking tape will hold it in place and I can cover it with papier-mâché. That's one shape, and if I show you the other side, which I've done that to already, I hope you can see that that's giving you a better shape to the horse's jawline, and I also actually added a bit more newspaper to the nose so that I think it's giving the right sort of shape to that part of the horse's head. So a jawline, I added a bit more newspaper to the nose and then covered it with the tissue papier-mâché, and I put some papier-mâché on the ear, so that's much stronger now. Look at that, won't break off. That's the first shape. Then the second one down here, this is a bit like a diamond, and then I've cut the bottom, wait a minute so you can see it. This is a bit like a diamond. I've cut off the bottom and some of the top. And again, if you look at your drawings of the horse, rather than the line of the horse's face just being straight, actually there's a bit more of an in-out shape from the ear out to the eye and back into the nose. So if you could cut out a diamond shape a bit like that, take the top and the bottom off it, and then put it on top of what you've done. So you'll be putting it on top of papier-mâché, but it will really improve the shape of your horse's head. And then eventually we're going to put eyes in here, an eye there and an eye there. So just to remind you then of what comes next, even though you've done some papier-mâché, if you make some of those changes, you can now cover them over with more of your tissue and glue. And the more you can do this to your horse's head, the stronger it's going to get, and the more those new pieces of card will just connect, will just become part of the horse's head. You start off by sticking them on with the masking tape, and once they've got a layer of tissue, like a layer of skin, then they'll look right. They'll look as though they are part of the horse's, well, I suppose it's almost the horse's skeleton that you're building up here. So that's the next stage, which you're familiar with. I'll do one more bit and then I'm going to pause my video, let this dry, and then start to work on the next two stages, the first of which is putting a layer of paint onto the dry papier-mâché, and the second is putting on some details like the eyes and the nostrils and anything else that I can think of, or that you can think of, because you're very good at having ideas. So there it is. That's the stage I've got to. I would do a little bit more papier-mâché so that everything's covered, and you can probably never do too much papier-mâché because it just makes the horse skin and all these different things that you're combining work together much, much better. Okay, pause a minute. Okay, so the next stage, once you've covered the horse's head with the papier-mâché, with the tissue and the glue, which I haven't done completely because I'm halfway through a demonstration. I really needed to get that covered, but I'm just going to show you the side that's almost covered. I have mixed up some paint. I'm using some acrylic paint, and I mixed some orange and some brown and some white, and I got this orangey brown, and I'm going to hold that bit of the horse's neck, and start to cover it with the one colour. And the paint is it's an acrylic paint, and I haven't added any water, but if I have trouble spreading the acrylic paint out, then it's worth dipping my brush into the water and just getting a tiny bit of water, not too much, but enough so that I can cover all of the horse's head. I'll hold it here so you can see all of the horse's head just with the one colour. Now my horse is going to have some markings. I think I'm going to have a bit of a white marking at the middle of the forehead. I'm also going to paint the inside of the ears, maybe a little bit pinker. And I'm going to have, I think, a darker nose. But I think it's a good idea with this technique just to completely cover the horse's head with one colour first. That brings everything together. And usually it's quite encouraging because you start to think, wow, it really does look more and more like a horse. So that is what you should do next. I'll hold it again by that end so you can see what I'm doing. And when this is dry, I'll be doing some extra painting. A darker nose, the inside of the ears, some markings. I'll be thinking about a mane, and lastly I'll be putting the eyes on. There we are. I think that's enough watching me paint. You know what I mean. You know how to do it and how well you will do it, I'm sure. There it is. That's the unpainted side. Here's the painted side. So I'm going to do one or two more things to decorate my horse's head. I've finished the papier-mâché and I've painted it all that one colour, that particular brown. So I've mixed up a few colours here, or I've put out a few colours with some more acrylic paint. I'm going to put some pink inside the ears because I think that works quite well. A lot of animals, when you can see the inside of their ear, there's a slightly pinker colour to the skin. So that's just some red and white and a little bit of yellow because it's a kind of orangey pink. So there are the ears. I'll clean my brush and dry my brush. And what I remember of the horse that I started with, I think my horse had a bit of a white marking just down the centre of its forehead. So I've just got some white paint, and because I'm painting what's I'm marking on the horse's skin, it's quite good if the edges are soft, a little bit thinner, doesn't need to be too solid. I think that's not too bad. And then lastly, for painting, I don't know if this is going to work because I want to make the nose a bit darker. So I've got some brown, but I don't know if it's dark enough. I probably should have added something to my brown to make it a little bit darker. Not sure how much you can see much of a difference. I could have added a bit of blue to my brown or a little bit of black, because I think it's quite good to have a different, darker colour around the nose and the mouth. Then lastly, well no, sorry, there's two more things. Next is an eye, or two eyes. So I've cut out of one of my boxes. This is a box that's got some black and white areas. So with the tabs of those boxes, I've just cut out a black oval, and I've also cut out a white circle. I think that's quite nice, and I've glued them on. I've used this quick drying glue, and that's going to go there at that point where I change the shape of the horse's head to meet the eye. So I think that's where I'm going to put that. And I'm using that quick drying glue. I should hold it in place for a minute. There's my horse's eye. And so the last thing I want to do to decorate it is make some sort of mane. I found some black tissue paper. You could maybe use some wool, and I've folded it over a few times, and then I've cut into it. That's just a start. I'm going to glue that in place for the horse's mane, about there. And I'll probably use that quick drying glue again. And once it's in place, I could probably go on cutting it a bit more, because I've got some quite thick. The cuts that I've made there aren't really like fine hair. They're a bit thick. So I think you'll work out how you want to do that. Will you use some tissue paper like I have here? Or will you try some wool? And how will you make it, the hair sit in a way that is just right for a horse's mane? So there you go. I'll leave you with those ideas, and I'm hoping you'll let me know how you get on. And I'll, if I get some good pictures, I can perhaps share them with people, so you can see how you all did. Starting last time with drawing the horses and horses' heads, and now beginning to decorate and refine your sculpture. So that's it for this set of sessions, but next week I think we'll have another go with horses, but this time we'll work with the whole horse's body, drawing the whole horse's body and making a sculpture of the horse with its head and its body and its legs and tail and so on. And perhaps we could work with horses moving, getting some of the different ways in which horses stand and run. And I'll let other children know about this, and we probably have a bigger group because a lot of children will be on their Easter holidays next week. All right, so I hope that goes well for you. Bye-bye.